Welcome to Hamim Loyal. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Today on Meanwhile, we have entered the time when all will turn against us. No, I'm not talking about Dune. We already did Dune, and it's available now on our Patreon. We're here to talk about the first part 1 of Twin Peaks: The Return, Dan. My log has a message for you. You know what else happened?
No, Eric, tell me, what happened?
We got a couple people buying the I Know Catherine the Log Lady movie, so thank you. For your kind donation.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We're figuring out how to get the money from there to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. I've talked to them. They seem very happy and appreciative, so it's a good thing you're doing. So I appreciate it. If you haven't gotten it and you still want to watch the movie, especially watching The Return, you really will look at it differently. We're going to talk about that today, actually. You can go to the website. You can go to the Meanwhile website, follow the link, or go right to them, put code in Meanwhile, and you're going to be donating $5 and getting $5 off. It's a twofer.
It's a win for everybody, folks. Thanks so much for contributing, participating. We love you.
And Happy New Year. This is our first show of 2026. We're 1 month away from our year.
Recording on New Year's Day. What a great way to start the new year with a new season of Twin Peaks. This is great.
All right, so let's just get to it, unless you have anything else, Dan, because, man, it's probably going to be a long one. So there's a lot to talk about.
Eric's New Year's resolution is to only have episodes that are over 2 hours in length because the editing is just that much fun. No, Eric, let's just dive right in.
Yeah, the Dune Patreon fans will know the Dune one is like 2 hours. And that's just me talking about Dune.
That's surprising you got it down to 2 hours. Wow. The raw, uncut version is 3 days long.
All right. So this is the big return. This is the big return to the return. As early as August of 2012, Dan, Frost had approached Lynch about doing The Return.
Mark Frost called me and asked me to go to Musso and Frank restaurant and have lunch. It just happened to be about 25 years later.
You may recall Agent Cooper is trapped in this purgatorial red room. His evil doppelganger has just escaped and gone out into the world, while Cooper is kind of nailed in his chair, and the spirit of Laura Palmer suddenly appears beside him and says, "I'll see you again in 25 years." I'd like to take credit for knowing where that was going to lead when we wrote it, but obviously I didn't, but maybe I did. I don't know. So I pointed this out to David, and he went, "Holy jumping George."
That line, "I'll see you again in 25 years, became the perfect entry point. I mean, you can't make it up because they were approaching that 25-year mark.
So was that really the guiding principle with which you got reinterested in the material?
That was part of it, yeah, and the love of the world and the characters. We worked together. Sometimes Mark would come to my house, but pretty soon we started Skyping with one another. So Mark was living in Ojai, and I'm living in L.A., so we would Skype, and that worked out really well.
We talked for probably 9 months before we wrote a word. Then it took a year to write the first 2 hours. We never told a single soul what we were up to. And then we said, okay, where are we going to take this?
And they ended up going to Gary Levine, who had worked at ABC when the show was originally pitched.
And it turned out that an old friend of mine was running Showtime, and that the second in command at Showtime just happened to be the guy who was our original network representative at ABC on Twin Peaks the first time around. So it wasn't what I would call a hard sell. We came in, we met with them, we showed them the 2 hours. They said, okay, let's do this.
I found this article on Variety where he still has the date and notes from the original pitch for the pilot that when he was working at ABC, and now they're pitching him the return, of which he okays and sees it through. So I think that is amazing, just to have the same person at both those points. And he in his notes he says it was August 25th, 1988, that they took that meeting for the original Twin Peaks. October 3rd, Dan, cast back your mind. And you got to forgive me, people, for a lot of self-indulgence that I'm going to go through here. Because trying to get myself back in the headspace of being a Twin Peaks fan in 2014, I went through my Twitter archive, because I deleted my account, but I saved my data. So I went through my timeline looking at okay, when this thing got announced, how was I reacting? So October 3rd, 2014, Lynch tweets out of nowhere, "Dear Twitter friends, that gum you like is going to come back in style."
I kind of remember that. I think I remember you freaking out about that, actually, which is it's such a great line from Twin Peaks.
That was when Twitter was kind of fun, and it was like an interesting place
Yeah.
where ideas would sort of get retweeted a lot, and it seems like news spread a lot faster. Maybe because I'm not on Twitter, so maybe it's still spreading. Just seems like it's more like feces out of a garden hose at this point.
Right.
I wrote, anyone else think that that Lynch tweet could mean that Twin Peaks is coming back in some form? And I said, "See you again in 25 years." And I linked to the picture. Now, Mark Frost must have tweeted that exact thing at the exact same time, because then my next tweet is, "Both Lynch and Frost tweeted it. It's gonna happen. I have to lie down now." Then I start freaking out. I tweeted a link to the Pink Room song, and I just wrote all day. Then I'm out of my mind. I'm like, when two events occur simultaneously pertaining to the same object of inquiry, we must always pay strict attention. And then my next tweet feels kind of cruel. "Please, God, don't let it come back on Hulu." I don't know what had a problem with Hulu, but I was already worried it was going to come back and be on Hulu. Who knows? Last tweet, Twin Peaks comes back, but it's only James stories. Now, October. So it's not official, though. It's not official. This is just some weird, cryptic tweet that David Lynch and Mark Frost send out that gum you like is going to come. So everybody starts, it's like a fever pitch the next 3 days. On the 5th, so 2 days later, I just posted a picture of Mrs. Tremont's grandson holding cream corn. I didn't really need to tell you about that, but it's still in my head, so I'm still thinking about it.
Still fun.
October 6th, this is when it becomes official. Both Lynch and Frost tweet, "Dear Twitter friends, it is happening again," and a link to Showtime with the hashtag damn good coffee. And then I tweet, "Lynch and Frost will write and produce all 9 episodes, with Lynch set to direct every episode. Now it's on me not to die until 2016. So I'm freaking out, posting clips to Fire Walk With Me of a real indication, saying it'll walk around like that all day. The last tweet, again, I don't know what I have against. I'm trying to push this James joke. So I write this exact same joke, hoping that it's going to catch, that it's just going to be the James story. And it's just a gif of James saying everybody's hurt inside. So anyway, as I said, series is going to be 9 episodes. It's going to premiere in 2016. So that would be 25 years since season 2. And it was the Secret History was going to come out. And then immediately after, a few months after, it was going to be 25 years later, bam, season 3. But then in March, shit just goes south. April 5th, 2015, David Lynch writes on Twitter, "Dear Twitter friends, Showtime did not pull the plug on Twin Peaks. After 1 year and 4 months of negotiations, I left because not enough money was offered to do the script the way I felt it needed to be done. This weekend, I started to call actors and to let them know I will not be directing. Twin Peaks may still be very much alive at Showtime. I love the world of Twin Peaks and wish things could have worked out differently." So that just sort of throws the whole thing into turmoil. There was still the thought that maybe it would go on, I guess, with Mark Frost. Now, what listeners of our show may not know, Dan and I had a podcast about Doctor Who that was already running. So we're talking about this exact story on the podcast.
Did you hear? Maybe this is old news. I didn't realize this, but so the Twin Peaks Netflix miniseries that they're going to do, Lynch is now out.
Showtime.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Showtime.
Yeah,
but Lynch is now out.
Yes. Well, I mean, the situation is basically.
So welcome to the old Twin Peaks
I would
show.
do a Twin Peaks podcast in like a heartbeat. I would just cancel this Doctor Who show, right? I will update the website and change the title. Because it's the worst news you could probably. It's like finding out. It's like when you're younger and someone breaks up with you, and then you have one of those dreams, and you're back together, and then you wake up and the dream fades, and you realize like they're gone and they're never coming back. It was like that. It was like getting kicked in the teeth. I wrote a bunch of like more tweets, like basically, I'm not going to read all of them. But if you want to see Twin Peaks without Lynch, compare the script for the last episode, Beyond Life and Death, with what aired. And the only thing worse than Twin Peaks not coming back would be Twin Peaks coming back without David Lynch. So I was not alone. This was so bad that they ended up doing a campaign to try to bring David Lynch back. Do you remember that campaign? Save Twin Peaks?
I don't remember that. No. I do remember there was a bunch of turmoil about it. I don't remember the details at all. But yeah, no, I don't remember the campaign for it. Were you the chairman of the board for that campaign? Were you?
It was the whole cast. Or most of the cast. So they would have like each, like Cheryl Lee would be like Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a girl without a secret. And Sherilyn Fenn did one, and Machen did one, and Dana Ashbrook did, like all of them sort of, Catherine Coulson did one. The whole conceit was like, Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like...
Twin Peaks without David Lynch, it's like a girl without a secret.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a dog without a bark.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch, it's like eyes without brows.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a waitress without her uniform.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like pies without cherries.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a motorcycle without its rider.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a sheriff's station without donuts.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like a Letterman's jacket without the letter.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch would be like the log without bark.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like drape runners without cotton balls.
Twin Peaks without David Lynch is like the fire without the heat.
Like a hole with no donut. No Twin Peaks with no David Lynch.
Showtime, their official statement was, we were saddened to read David Lynch's statement today, and we believed we were working towards solutions with David and his reps and the few remaining deal points. Showtime said in a statement, Showtime also loves the world of Twin Peaks, and we continue to hold out hope that we can bring it back in all its glory with both of its extraordinary creators, David Lynch and Mark Frost, at its helm. So it was bad, but it all got righted because the guy I mentioned before, Gary Levine, and the CEO of Showtime, David Nevins, go to David Lynch's house with cookies.
I've just had two cookies and a Coke. It's phenomenal.
So they bake him cookies or buy cookies or whatever. They show up at his house. They all drink coffee and they eat cookies and they hash the thing out. And David Lynch writes then on May 15th, "Dear Twitter friends, the rumors are not what they seem. It is happening again." Then everything was back. It was back to normal. And not only did we not get 9 episodes, we got 18 episodes. At the time, I think that was like the crux of the issue. Was Lynch had this 400-page script and wanted the freedom to do as many episodes as you want. Like, if you wanted to take a little bit longer than 9 episodes and you wanted to do 12 episodes, and these guys didn't know how to handle that. Like, they're like, no, the contract is 9 episodes. This is your money. And so that was sort of the problem. And when they all met together, they were like, fine, we'll give you this much money. do whatever you want with it. And when they came to an agreement, it all happened. It all came together. So at that point, there's a 400-page script. They get the deal. Frost leaves, writes A Secret History of Twin Peaks. So he's got to write that. So this script is already, Frost's version of the script is written. And then Lynch starts modifying the script even more and builds it out even more, because I don't know what the final count was, but there may be like another 150 pages or so that are added, because, you know, it was a 9 episodes, and now it ends up being 18 episodes. So it was cool. And then, but we got it. We got the whole thing back together. It was very, very exciting. After this announcement, I'm just posting, I'm shoving cream corn in my face. But listening to us on June 3rd, 2015, I'm like, this is secretly a Twin Peaks podcast that I should be doing. So it's funny to hear us basically do this podcast and even review the episode we're about to talk about. We review that episode on the podcast. I'm not kidding. When the show was on, I got like, my heart started like as it was coming on, and you saw like the red room and and I had to grab my wife's hand like a child. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Oh my God. So it could have went south. I mean, I love David Lynch. David Lynch
could
has
it,
never,
or did it?
Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna get there. But not to overplay our hands, but maybe we both aren't as excited about the show.
Oh no, I don't know if that's the case. But, okay.
So I loved it. Like it.
Okay,
it
so
was.
That's where Eric's coming from.
It was.
I'm
hold
a
on,
different
one
kind.
more point. One more point.
No, do it.
It's
about
just
me,
as much. It's. If you're a fan of David Lynch filmmaking, you're going to love it, because it's as much Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, which is one of my favorite films of his, which is the last movie he made in 2006, as it is the original Twin Peaks. Like, it is not a let's go back and revisit. It's not a nostalgia fest. It's not a remember when. It's this is taking that and looking through it instead of back to it. Like, it's a whole thing that I have not seen anyone else on TV do, which is what made the first show so great. So it is something new. It's not a reboot or a throwback or whatever. But go.
Right.
I know your opinions may vary. We review that episode on the podcast. I don't know if you remember what you thought.
Well, I don't want to influence my current thinking with my former thinking, because
I think it's going to be the same. I think it'll be
okay. Maybe
we should make a wager.
Maybe. But I will say for sure, I don't think I went back and rewatched any Twin Peaks or reread anything at all. So I would have been coming to The Return Part 1 completely cold, memory wiped, smooth-brained, like an idiot. So this time through, at least I have things that I'm looking for. Everything else is still in my head. We've just done so much content, including Firewalk with Me, which is obviously crucial to this, Missing Pieces, Secret History to some extent. So all of that's in my head now. So maybe it colors my opinion a little bit differently, but I can't imagine my appreciation for this first episode is any different than it was then.
Yeah, and I should clarify, because we did a podcast every 3 weeks. When this show airs, 2 episodes are released. So when we do our recording, technically there's 4 episodes out. So it's really disingenuous to say it's just us reviewing the first one. We're giving our overall thoughts on the first 4 episodes, if that changes things or not. But is this the second time you watched it?
Correct. This is my second time watching it.
Okay. I'm going to drop the clip in here. Well, you're not going to change what you said. Maybe I should just say what you said. Because in the review, you say a certain thing, and I say, I bet if you watch it a second time, you may change. And I'm wondering if this second time will change that.
Well, let me know if it comes up in context. Let me know, but I'd be very interested as well. Because, like I said, I don't recall all of this is recorded live. You know, we watch the episodes, we take notes, we think about it, we have a discussion, and there's so many times, especially if you go back, and I'm not recommending everyone go back and do this unless you're a huge fan of Doctor Who. But there's so many times when I would start talking about an episode and feel one way, and then we'd talk through it, and I'd end up in a completely different position. So these are all me just thinking through things in real time live. So I don't know how I felt at the time at all.
I should probably just tell you. I don't think it doesn't need to be, because you tell me at this point whether this is still accurate.
Okay. I was telling Eric this. We haven't really talked about our opinions so much about this yet, but to me, this is a very pure distillation. It is so incredibly David Lynch. It is entirely his vision. It has seems like it's springing fully formed from his subconscious. And I love that stuff. There are so much, the mysteries, the visuals. I love, I said this on this show regarding Doctor Who and Twin Peaks and X-Files. I love Mytharc. So I really love the continuing story that builds the world around it. So everything that has to do with the Black Lodge and the history and, even from the opening scene where it is that scene from the original show where Laura Palmer is saying, I'll see you again in 25 years, until then, and then does the little hand thing. I love that. Meanwhile, yeah.
Meanwhile.
Right, meanwhile. So all that I just absolutely love. There are the only things I don't like about this as much are the things that revisit the old characters. Anything that takes place in Twin Peaks, I could live without. I don't like the direction or the acting choices that Lucy and Andy are doing, and they were two of my favorite characters in the original. They don't feel like people at all, and I get that hyper reality, and it's not supposed to, but they completely turn me off. Wow.
Now it's more than just this episode, so it's the first.
Oh, okay,
four.
okay, yeah.
But it's not like you're saying you don't like it. You're praising. Sure. You even say that, and I'll put the clip here. Just I'm not trying to misrepresent you.
No, that's
but
fine.
You say that like some of these episodes, and I think when we do the second part, you like more than the original series. So it's not like you're saying I don't like it. But there's a lot of it you don't. The stuff that's grounded, like
that's
the stuff
so funny.
That's on Earth. That's your take.
I don't remember any. Guys, how many times I have to say this? Memory of a goldfish. But like, I don't remember what comes next. If we were talking about the first 4 parts, well, then forget it. I have no idea. And we spend relatively such little time in Twin Peaks in this episode. So yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess I'll see how my feelings are.
We'll see. But that was
Cool.
our take, and I have seen this many times since the Doctor Who episode as well, so I'm coming from a different place than Dan. So this is cool to see. All right, so let me get through it. So this was shot primarily in Washington State and California. They used a number of locations from the original series. I don't have to do this every episode because that's the thing. It's one sort of production. Think of this 18 hours as one movie. It's written by Mark Frost and David Lynch. It's directed by David Lynch. It's edited by Dwayne Dunham. I don't need to tell you who those 3 people are. The director of photography is Peter Deming. He works with Lynch. He did an episode of On the Air, Hotel Room, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and The Return. Like one big movie.
Okay, I just don't. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, like the main creative people behind that, even the cinematographer, like those should. That's great. That's consistent throughout. That's not always the case, obviously, even in shows where you have like a main showrunner or core group of creators. So this is great. The consistency throughout is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on as well.
Yeah, really do think of it as one big movie because they didn't even know where one episode would start and another would begin.
Right.
So even when they were doing cuts, like you can hear about interviews with like Peter Deming or even Dwayne Dunham, Peter Deming talks about when we get to part 8, shooting it, like not knowing where that would fall in the which episode it would fall in or whatever. So it was really cool. It is
amazing.
Like one big film that was then broken out into 18 parts. So the DOP is Peter Deming. I said he also worked on Evil Dead 2, which I find amazing.
That's great.
He was the DOP on that. Drop Dead Fred, My Cousin Vinny, Joe's Apartment, which was that like first MTV movie with the talking cockroaches.
Cockroach, yeah.
Austin Powers, Scream 2, 3, and 4, if that's your thing. He was working on that. I Heart Huckabees and The Menu, which was pretty interesting. Music composed by Angelo Badalamenti, though it's lacking. It makes the show feel a lot different. There's not as much music. Not as much Angelo music. There's also other pieces of music. I know Johnny Jewel from the Chromatics does a couple of songs, and then we're going to see several bands perform at the Roadhouse, which is awesome.
Right.
Sound design is David Lynch. So David Lynch is doing the sound design, but he's also working with Dean Hurley.
Amazing.
Who's like the senior sound designer. It's kind of helping him. So the two of them are started working on this together. Production design was by Ruth De Jong, who was a production designer on There Will Be Blood and Oppenheimer. So what a resume, among many other movies that she did. Art director Kara Bauer, who also directed the Candyman reboot, Us, and The Marvels. I don't know if you saw. I liked the Candyman reboot. I thought that was pretty good.
I liked Us, and The Marvels was good. Cool.
Last is costume designer was Nancy Steiner, who also worked on Lost in Translation, Little Miss Sunshine, and Enlightened, which bring that up because that's a wonderful show. And if you go through my Twitter feed, I'm also complaining about that getting canceled. Did you watch that? Was it Laura Dern?
No, I
Mike
know
White
of it.
show?
I'm part of the reason it got canceled because I didn't watch it.
Oh, it was great. Okay, so a lot of the cast return for the 18 episodes, but not everyone. Some notable absences. Michael Onkeen, he was retired, not interested in coming back. So we're not going to, unfortunately, get a Sheriff Harry Truman in here. Lara Flynn Boyle. Now, to my understanding, she was not interested. And I guess even for the story, they didn't, because I would have taken Moira Kelly as Donna here, but not in it. Joan Chen. Now, Joan Chen had wanted to come back. And she even wrote a letter to David Lynch in character. And I won't read the whole letter, but it opens with, "Dear David, I write to you from the wooden drawer knob in which I have been trapped for the past 2 decades, yearning restlessly for an escape. I hear voices whisper the rumor of a return to my body, and I implore you, O Creator, to let me come back. It seems that the possibilities of who I shall become are as infinite as your fecund imagination." Am I pronouncing that word correct? Fecund imagination.
Fecund, yeah.
So kind of
Fertile.
sad that she wanted to be back, wrote this letter, but the story dictates what's going to happen, and unfortunately, they couldn't really find a spot for her.
Would
Yes,
have been really interesting, especially considering what we read in the Secret History, the deviation or, I don't know, expansion of Josie's backstory there to see how that could have been reconciled. So that would have been very interesting, but I don't know how she necessarily would have fit in to the overarching story. So it's too bad. Yep.
Yeah, wasn't in the cards. Michael J. Anderson, Man from Another Place, he had a falling out with Showtime over payment. So they couldn't agree on finances. And then he went over the edge. Kind of went out of his mind. He said a lot of horrible, horrible things. None of which I'll repeat here. But so that was a bad. So we're going to see the Man from Another Place.
Well,
we're
yeah,
gonna see the arm.
Explains some things later, huh?
Yeah, maybe it looks a little bit differently. No Piper Laurie, who I believe also wanted to be back. No Heather Graham. She was also interested in coming back. Eric DeRay is not in it, so I guess we assume he's dead by spiders.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
no Chris Isaac. I was always hoping, where is Agent Desmond? You'd find out. Other people that are not in it because unfortunately they passed away. Don Davis, Major Briggs. David Bowie was going to do it, but unfortunately he passed away in January of 2016. And Jack Nance, he had been murdered already by this point. So very sad. It's put together by Rancho Rosa Productions, or Production Partnership Production. I think I'm getting that name right. Doesn't matter. That's the name, but that is the name of their production company that does this. But it's also will make an in-universe appearance that we'll get to in a future episode. Premiered on May 21st, 2017, as I said, along with part 2. So you would watch part 1 and part 2. If you watch it on the Blu-ray, there is an option to present it as one kind of movie. I like the fact that we're doing it individually. And I feel like this part stands on its own. All right, so that's it. So let's take us into the return.
Agent Cooper. Listen to the sounds. Is this an Arasma.
All right, Eric, well, here we go. We open in the Red Room, picking up pretty much where we left off of episode 29 of season 2.
Yeah, I already mentioned the Rancho Rosa logo is something that's going to appear in the story as well. We move over that chevroned floor back and forth, which just feels like time in both directions. We're in a show about returning to the past. You hear the sound of wind in the audio mix, and then we're going to see Cooper from episode 29 and Laura. You get that wonderful reverse snap. Hello, Agent Cooper. I'll see you again in 25 years. Meanwhile, like all of our lives happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, meanwhile, and then bam, we go to the foggy trees. That little opening bit is so magical to see her, hear her say that, and then to see it happen. And this is when I was freaking out. I talked about like holding. Oh, no, I didn't talk about that. I talk about that in the original review. I'm acting like we already talked about this, where I was like having a panic attack and like holding my wife's hand. Like, I can't believe it's actually happening. Like, I can still remember that. So seeing the foggy trees, the remains of the smokestack, the school, the memory of the pilot episode with that started all this with that young student screaming as she's running across the courtyard. We go into the case, which again, this is the original case, not the case that we got in Fire Walk With Me for you people that are sticklers for details. Just the trees are this beautiful, spooky fog hanging over everything. You know, the remains of the Packard smokestack, the only one tower remains at this point. The others are long since gone. And if I don't get there soon, they'll all be gone. I don't think it's going to last much longer. Because it's a passage of time, like, is this like, it's going to sound weird, but Twin Peaks in the future of the show, or is this Twin Peaks in our world? Because we're trying to go back from our world back into this thing, back into this show. I got more to say about that bit later. So you cut to the famous Twin Peaks hallway shot, all those slow pushes down the hallway, and you're thinking about Ronette waking up from her coma. That shot of the pilot I talked about, the trophy case. We focus on Laura because it's all about Laura. And that's when the opening bars of Falling play. And we're over Black Lake. And it's a new vantage point. Like, it's not the shot we're used to seeing. We are now like observing Twin Peaks from above, looking down. And then we fall faster and faster down that waterfall, and it cross dissolves into the red curtains. And then you hear the wind, and then it cross dissolves into the chevron pattern floor, moving around faster and faster and faster as we go into black and white. Man, that's it. I feel like this idea of going in and out of Twin Peaks as an entity is something I'll return to, but that's how you do it. That's how you open it up, in my opinion. Dan, what's your take on this little bit of heaven?
Could not agree more. This is so exciting for me. I've been watching everything to this point on the Paramount site. The quality is pretty good, but we're talking about like the first 2 seasons. It's the technology at the time. Watching it here, everything just is in higher resolution, higher quality. You talk about the different vantage point as we're flying over the town, over the trees, things that just didn't happen previously. You just get a different perspective on it, in addition to it just being more vibrant or more realized in a way. I don't know how else to say it, but it just really struck me, especially that shot. So, of course, starting in the Red Room, for me, this is a higher quality version of it than I've seen before. I don't have the Blu-rays, so this just felt like a sharpened, in the best sense, a version of that scene that we've seen before. But then as soon as we get the flying shots over the foggy trees in the mountains, through the town, it just felt different but familiar in a way that I can't quite put my finger on, but just was exhilarating. So that was just gorgeous. Going through again, like you said, through the high school, the girl running through the courtyard, the day that Laura was found, and the tight zoom on Laura's homecoming queen photo is just terrific to center us back again into the central meaning of Twin Peaks. The thing that you have always mentioned, especially when we had some of those wandering areas in the middle of season 2. Like, let's bring this back to Laura. So we're starting there already. And I felt the same way, too, as we come over the falls. We've never seen it from that direction before. In the original intro, we're following the river along as the title credits are playing. This time we're coming over and spilling down through the falls. And the way that the mist is kind of radiating everywhere is just a beautiful shot. Just absolutely terrific. And the swirling zigzag tiles of the red room is disorienting. You mentioned like kind of a movement through time and space, maybe, just trying to get your bearings. So you have the old and the new being juxtaposed together all at once in this opening is exciting. You must have been like levitating at this point whenever this first aired. So this is great.
And you're off anyway because the lack of not the lack of sound, but the lack of music.
Oh, let's talk about the sound for sure, but yes.
Because you're hearing the wind, and normally in this show, it would be accompanied by falling and the beautiful music of Angelo Badalamenti, and it creates a mood, and you see these images with the sound. But here you're off too because you're not hearing any music. It's very quiet other than the sound of the wind and all of these things. And then when you get hit with the song, at the moment that you get hit with the song, it's like getting hit with a brick. I love it.
Yeah, and you mentioning the sound design. I noticed in the credits as I was watching that David Lynch was credited as the sound designer. So really thinking about the use of sound throughout this entire episode, the sound of the trees, the whooshing sound, it's used so well throughout the entire episode as a signifier. It just really draws your attention. And, thinking about the original series, I've always seen it as a play on, and not necessarily a satire, just playing with the tropes of soap operas, nighttime, daytime soap operas, that sort of thing. So the melodrama aspect of it, having a lot of music, made sense. Soap operas have changed in the intervening years, 25 years later, such as there are still any of those, but like nighttime soap operas aren't really a thing. They're more of these drama pieces. So it's kind of conforming to that style now as well. We don't get all these sound cues tugging at your emotions in some of these more prestige shows. So to me, again, thinking off the top of my head here, it just feels a lot more consistent with that. But the sound design, incredible throughout, and I'm sure we'll keep coming back to that. But from here, Eric, we pan up into a black and white interior with a giant sitting on a chair in a velvet tuxedo facing Cooper, who is now 25 years older.
Yeah, a couple of things to even before we start. I imagine we're going to be stuck here for a long time. When we did the Palmers, the interview with the Palmers, we talked about being black and white, but I didn't mention the interview with the actors is in color. So it changes from black and white to color. And I was listening to Blue Rose Task Force, the podcast. They had posted something on our Instagram, and I saw they had just reviewed, or he had just reviewed the same thing we did. So I was like, oh, that'd be interesting to see like what someone else's take was. And he spends a lot of time talking about the use of color. And here we're going from color to black and white. We're going to bounce back to color. So it's very interesting. And in his theory, I don't want to get it wrong, just check out his podcast, was something about like black and white being events in time that definitely happened. And then things in color are malleable. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily have the same take, but it's a really interesting idea. And I wish that I had mentioned that it does switch to color from when he's talking to the Palmers to when he's talking to Ray Wise and Grace and Cheryl. Okay. So, man, for moving across that floor, what a great looking carpet. Let's be honest. That beautiful wavy carpet. We got to talk about the giant. Who is it? Because when I first watched this, you watch it, you're like, oh, that's the giant.
Sure.
That's the giant from season 2. And then you get to the credits, and it's credited as 7 question marks as the name. Now, I don't think this is a spoiler. I'm going to spoil a little bit of the future in the fact that this character is in 4 episodes. The first 2 episodes, they are credited as 7 question marks. And in the last 2 episodes, they are credited as the fireman. And in the show, the proper series on ABC, it's credited as the giant.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to ask, is this the same giant? Is this 2 different giants from the race of giants that Mark Frost talked about in The Secret History? And speaking of The Secret History, or is it Margaret Lanterman's husband, Sam Lanterman, who, as we know, was a fireman, or a volunteer fireman. He came from a long line of woodsmen who, on their wedding night in The Secret History, runs into the woods and dies. He's also, in episode 29, the one that gives Margaret Lanterman and then thus to Cooper scorched engine oil, opening to a gateway. Is that him? The same person? I don't know. I don't think it's the same giant. Because of the question marks and because of the further referencing him as the fireman. So I call him the fireman. I'm going to call him the fireman, but you tell me if you see him as the same giant.
It is the same actor,
different.
though.
Oh, it's definitely the same actor. Yeah, same actor. And how many? Cheryl plays. We're going to see many actors playing different people.
Well, I don't know. There's many actors playing different people. There's definitely.
You know what I mean. In the world of Twin Peaks, the same.
No, that's fair.
In the world of David, you're right.
But what I was going to say is it tends with these entities, beings, what have you, that it's not the same person playing multiple characters. It's actually the opposite. It's multiple characters playing the same entity in a way. So, for example, the world's oldest bellhop, or the world's oldest waiter, I guess we call him, the bellhop and the giant. It's these overlapping characters that are kind of serving the same purpose, the same character. So this is the opposite of that. So I don't know. I don't have a fully fleshed out idea around this. The fact that they are similar definitely has a meaning of some sort, and we haven't gotten to him being called the fireman yet or seeing anything further. So for me, I'm very much a textualist when it comes to these types of things. I like the interpretations, but until I see it on the page or on the screen, it hasn't really, it's not clear to me yet, and I don't really want to jump ahead and try to make any sort of assertions on that.
If you watch the credits of this episode, though, it does say, his name, a bunch of question marks. And if you watch that same actor's name credited on any of the episodes he's in Twin Peaks, it says the giant.
The giant, right. No, that's interesting.
7 question marks is the same amount of letters as fireman.
Sure.
He's going to become a fireman. But anyway, something to think about. He's certainly similar to, there could be we know there's a race of giants according to Mark Frost. Many giants. They talk about these. So they could all look the same and all have similar powers, because we're going to see some similarities coming very soon through this. The other question you have to ask is, where are we? Now, many people say this is the White Lodge. Not for me, but I can see it. There's always music in the air. There's a phonograph here. My idea of the White Lodge I already talked about with Fire Walk with Me. I feel like this is someplace else. But a lot of people have theorized this is the White Lodge that we're in now, and especially later, as we're going to see some orbs, perhaps. Just something to think about. I don't know what your take is. Do you see this as the White Lodge, someplace else, or some idea that I have not thought of?
Someplace that we have not been introduced before. It doesn't, to me, it never struck me as the White Lodge at all. It's just some other place connected to whatever other dimension where Cooper's been, although he does say, as we'll get to, you are far away, so he's not directly in the same place that Cooper's been trapped for 25 years. One other thing about the giant versus the fireman, correct me if I'm wrong, but the giants did not speak backwards, where in this case, the fireman, or question marks, does, which is an unusual thing as well, that further kind of separates the two.
Well, no. Well, in episode 29...
One and the same.
When you're in these other worlds, you speak backwards. So
that's true. It's just when he appears.
Backwards. Yeah. Okay. When the human avatar, when they're in our plane, they speak normal. At least in that case, we have. Yeah.
That's assuming that when when we see the giant in, for example, in the Great Northern or in the Roadhouse, and he's speaking forwards. Strange way to say it. He's not speaking backwards. Just imagining that it is a function of either being in our world or speaking through another person or something like that. Okay, that's a fair point. Great. Okay.
So, all right, let's get to the meat of the whole thing, right? All the weird cryptic things. He's going to tell us to listen to the sound, or tell Agent Cooper, listen to the sounds.
Listen to the sounds.
Then we hear that phonograph that sounds to me like a skipping record.
Mhm.
Record moves round and round like a fan, like time. But a skip is when something is stuck, right? It's going back and forth through time, the way that the camera moved across the floor.
It sounds like a skip to you.
Yep. It also reminds me
Huh.
of the skipping record player in the Palmers.
Uncle Leland! And Sarah? Uncle Leland, what is that smell? It smells like something burning!
Right before Maddie is murdered, and that is the point when the show reveals the killer to the audience as well. It's a moment in time in which the show becomes stuck at that same moment. So I that's the way I hear it, as a skipping record.
I really like that interpretation. I wish it was more obvious that way, because it doesn't sound like a skip to me at all. It
Okay.
sounds to me, and maybe this is just from, my vague recollections of future episodes, but it sounds to me like a creature, insect-like creature. It
Could
sounds
be
like,
both.
It sounds like claws to me. I wish it was more clearly, in a way. Obviously, I love the mystery, and the ambiguity is why the show has existed in our imagination for as long as it has. But I do wish in this case that it was more clear, because I really love that idea of the skipping and unskipping record. I think that's fantastic. But I wish I could hear that more. It doesn't quite read that way.
It could be that when a skipping record skips, it sounds like a creature. Two creatures.
Maybe it's an insect DJ.
Could be. In either case, music and sound are keys to something. We are then told, like, it is in our house now.
It is in our house now.
It is.
It all cannot be said aloud now.
And Cooper answers, like, it is. And to me, think of the man from another place telling Cooper, you are here and there's no place to go but home.
No, there is no place to go. Home.
And home and our house. And I see this as related to like an evil force trying or corrupting this special place. But we shall see. Yes.
One thing that you said when he says, it is in our house now, Cooper says, it is.
Yeah, I knew you were going to read it the other way. I knew
It's not a question. It's not a question. It is a statement. It is.
I see it as a question.
I wish
it doesn't matter. It's just an interpretation.
No. I don't think it matters to anything. I think it's interesting. I think both are interesting. I like the idea that perhaps Cooper's been here so long, time is moving in a different way for wherever he is, however long he's been here. Maybe he does have more understanding in this case. Maybe he is acknowledging, yes, it is. You're 100% right. Maybe it is a question, and he's being led on to a journey here, and the giant's leading him there. But anyway, I really like that. The ambiguity is great.
See, the way I read it, I knew it. I saw it because you can see it in his face. I'm like, yeah, you can read this both ways.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, okay, he's saying it is as a question, because his follow-up to that is all cannot be said out loud now, which immediately you think about the giant and his rules, and I'm only permitted to say certain things. Now he's going to make I'm with you on him, Cooper understanding things and changing from where the Cooper we knew before, because here's where the fireman tells Cooper three things.
Remember 430. Richard and Linda. 2 hours worth on stone.
I understand.
430, Richard and Linda, two birds, one stone. Now, doppelgangers is what I think of. Two birds, one stone, one soul, two entities. I'll talk more about that with some other things that are people that are able to play multiple parts in the term of actors and Twin Peaks as an entity within itself. But Cooper answers, I understand. And you compare that with his response to the Giants' three things in episode 8.
What do these things mean? This is all I'm permitted to say.
This is a different Cooper. I understand immediately. And perhaps it's a different giant, as we've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he says, you are far away, and he flickers out. He disappears and he leaves this world and we hear the sound of electricity, like a buzzing sound. But what's your take on all of those?
Yeah, I love this. So saying he's giving multiple clues, whether it's three things or the trail that the giant had given Cooper previously. It is in our house now could be one of them. Remember 430 is another. Richard and Linda. For some reason I connected Richard and Linda and two birds, one stone.
You can
as what? Sure. I don't know what it means yet, so I don't really have any idea. I am taking many more notes of things to pay attention to later than I did in the first two seasons. Sorry. So there's a lot of. I feel like I don't even know if this is necessarily true. This is more of a puzzle box show than Firewalk with Me or the original series, but I'm treating it that way. So these are a bunch of these things that I want to keep track of later. You always say, kind of sarcastically, write that down in your notebook. Well, I literally am.
Yeah, you
taking
have
note
to.
Of some of
you
these
have
things.
to write this stuff down.
So for me, Richard and Linda, two birds with one stone, felt like one thing, but maybe it's separate. We'll find out. That's really cool. The You Are Far Away was great. The way that Cooper, I wrote in my notes, zaps out because of the electricity scene, but it's also he doesn't fade out. It's not a crossfade. It's
flickers.
This weird but it's in pieces. It's almost like it's cool. It's just it's a weird effect. It's almost like this origami type effect where lines are slashing through and pieces of them disappear. It's a really interesting way to do that. You've seen Star Trek teleporters or just a simple fade. No, it's not a fade like I've seen anywhere else. It's really cool.
To me, it makes me feel like if Cooper were on a yellow RCA video connector being put into something, and then you mess with the plug as you pulled it out, you would get that flick before it fades. You're playing an Atari or something, and you unplug it, you see the back and forth as the connection loses its connection to that world.
Yeah. From here, we head out to the woods where Dr. Jacoby receives some packages at his trailer and sets off to work alone.
Yeah, very nice. This beautiful mountain shot, and we're back in Twin Peaks. It's been a while since we've really were in the town, and now we're going to see Jacoby, Dr. Jacoby, Russ Tamblyn back on screen with the sunglasses, and then underneath the red and blue glasses is such a nice gag. He's getting a big order of shovels, so we'll have to figure out what he's going to be doing with those shovels. It might be neat to see what he has in mind here. They call him Doc a couple of times, which is from the Access Guide, right? That was in the Access Guide, and when we read that, we're no, we call Doc Hayward Doc.
Right.
We don't call Jacoby Doc, but here he is calling Doc. And I know Mark Frost was referencing the Access Guide heavily before he did The Secret History, probably around the time that he wrote that. So do with that what you will. And I like that Doc works alone. He doesn't want any help from no delivery man.
Yeah, Jim, drop the boxes and get out of here.
Yeah. That's it.
No, felt the same way. So this is the first character we get to see in the environs around Twin Peaks. Great to see Jacoby come out, and I felt the same way. He walks out of his trailer and pulls off the sunglasses to reveal the red and blue glasses. Just fantastic. So it just warms my heart to see this character returning. I want to pay attention to the sound design here as well. We get a lot of long shots through the trees. So we see Jacoby's trailer and work. It looks like working shed or something like that in the distance as they're unloading the boxes between trees. So it's not right up on them. There are a few alternating shots back and forth, but that's mostly it. And you really, for me, it struck out the sound design of the wind through the trees here, feeling more in the scene than something that's laid on top of this. But you hear the wind, it's kind of haunting. You hear boughs scrape against each other. You hear the birds in the background. Again, knowing that Lynch is primarily responsible for the sound design through this makes me just want to pay attention to those things more. Just really great. It doesn't have the same feeling that that sound of the wind through the trees does in other places that we'll talk about too. But very cool to see.
Yeah, and in general, jumping on your long shots, there's a lot of long shot, a lot of static shots in this whole episode, and it has a much different feel of really letting the camera sit, not cutting into close-ups. It's a lot of long shots, which I like, but it gives it an interesting feel.
Yeah, very cinematic feel to the whole thing. From the woods, we head to a dark and mysterious building in New York City. A man sitting on a sofa is watching a box and gets a visitor with some coffee.
Yeah, so we get that aerial shot passing through the city, and then we focus on something that looks like a camera lens. And then we pull out to reveal a glass box itself surrounded by a bunch of cameras inside this like exposed brick loft. The guy sitting there, Sam Colby, is sitting on a couch. He's played by Benjamin Rosenfield. He's watching intently for something to happen. And there's at least 6 cameras around the box and then one behind him. So it's 7 cameras total if you're a number fan. But he is like us, watching this box, waiting for Twin Peaks to come back, cataloging every episode, keeping these detailed notes, looking for clues. And there are several close-ups of the cameras, and I just love the hum of the camera recording. It's just beautiful. All the static shots here are just beautiful. There's no movement. It feels so desolate and cold. And I just love how this scene is put together. It's just like waiting. And there is this one long shot of Sam sitting on the couch with his little lamps. And it's just this concrete, and it just looks like a family room that has been implanted in this crazy looking warehouse. It's so nice. And I like that even just the thought of like when a tape is done, it like buzzes and then you hear that voice about which camera to change. And it's very jarring too, because it jumps you out of your seat because you're like just waiting, watching what's going to happen in this box. And all of a sudden it takes you out. You have no idea what's going on at all, but it's secretive. Like it's secretive and serious, but you don't know what it is. And by the way, if you're counting, it's camera 3 that goes out.
Of course.
There are 7 cameras, I said, around the box. 8 if you count the box itself as a camera that is watching us. And 8 is a very special episode. So 8 cameras, 8 is a special episode that we will get to when we get to part 8. And we're watching Sam. He is watching the box, like a fan watching the old Twin Peaks, even drinking 2 coffees at one point. And yet the return, the show, is the camera watching us watch him. Or the way I look at it is the show itself is watching me watch the show. I don't know. I love it. I like Tracy, who comes in. She's played by Madeline Zima. She was in Doom Patrol, this actress. And it's so strange that I can't understand why I've never watched Doom Patrol. Because I should love it. It was a comic that meant a lot to me, and I loved it. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's like it was built for me, and I never got around to it. Anyway, she works at the coffee shop that we'll learn. So she's coming here with these coffees that have Z's on them. When she talks to him, at least we learn a little bit more about we just kind of know it's top secret at this point. But it's secure enough and secret enough that there's an armed guard outside. And when you first meet Tracy, you're not sure how to read her because she's kind of looking over his shoulder as he's putting in the code. Like, what's her deal? Is it curiosity? Is it something else? I mentioned the big Z on the coffee, and we're going to find out she works at the coffee shop where they're coming from. But what's your take on this interesting scene?
Yeah, a lot of the same things. We'll say as we come into this scene, we leave the woods and we still have the sound of the wind through the trees, and it's replaced with the sound of the traffic of the city, the sirens and the general noise. So it's very similar shots. You're kind of looking down over trees, and now we're looking over the building. So I like that transition both visually and in the sound design. Very cool that we get that. The sound of the wind picks up again as we kind of pan up this dark building. Like you mentioned, there's the camera lens looking window. It's virtually the only window in the building. So it's a very dark building in otherwise very brightly lit Manhattan. Very cool. And we come in through the box there. I felt the same way about, it feels very much like a meta commentary on. We got Sam sitting there on the sofa with the very homey sort of setup. He's got lamps on the either side of him, like a end table with a little plant on it even. Like, you don't need that there. It's completely very homey, and he's watching this glass box.
That plant is a bonsai tree, which, of course, you think about Twin Peaks, you think about Earl.
Remember those old World War II movies? Bonsai! Damnation!
Which is how he was listening. Like, we're being observed. Like someone else is observing him on the table. That's what I thought about when I saw the bonsai tree.
I didn't even notice it was a bonsai tree. Honestly, it didn't even register to me. It just looked like
on the right side. Yeah, I think it looked like a bonsai tree.
Sure, no, that's great. And I felt very similarly too. Like this felt like a meta sort of moment of us watching the show. Sam's watching the show. We're waiting for something to happen, something to materialize, etc. He doesn't know what it is, so he's kind of waiting for a mystery. I did note that, and we should read these things however we want to. This apparently was not Lynch's intention at all. Just wanted to find out about that a little bit. So he was in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. The interviewer said something similar. Were you trying to give the audience an allegory for TV watching or how to watch the show? And he says, no, but that's an interesting way to look at it. Extended quote that's a little, I just like this is very much the way that I think of Lynch in this quote that he says. So the interviewer says, do you think in terms of allegory or meta? And Lynch says, not really. Ideas just come. You think about them, you figure out their meaning. Then how they fit together into the whole is another sort of thing entirely. It's not finished until it's finished, and you really don't know until further down the road how one thing relates to another. It's just this magical thing. I always say the whole thing exists in another room that has a complete puzzle, and the parts are there together, and someone from that room is sort of a rascal and randomly flips over parts into this room. You have to put the puzzle pieces together. I love that. It's a show like Lost, for example. I remember you and I watching that show when it aired, and we're both like trying to put the pieces together. And what does this whole thing mean? And you realize actually they didn't really know where they were going at all, and the whole thing fell apart. This is kind of a similar thing, except it works because you're not trying to fit these pieces necessarily together so neatly. They just feel right together, if you know what I mean. They don't have, I think that's really great. So I guess the other thing to say is, the allegory and meta kind of commentary is absolutely there, whether Lynch intended it to be there or not. And I think that's one of the great things about Lynch is because he's so intuitive that these things can surface and still be correct, even if they weren't intentional. Love that about that.
Yep. And to just clarify what I'm saying is not even that it's a meta commentary like, oh, this is just like us watching the TV show. I'm going to try to suggest that things are literally coming in and out of the TV show.
Yes. I know that's where you're going before. You were saying that before with are we in Twin Peaks or the town that represented? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And literally like out of ideas, out of like consciousness ideas, characters are trying to go in, and we're trying to go back to this thing. And you can't get back. And then characters are going to leave the story at one point and be in another story and then try to. But so that's
yeah. I got you. I vaguely remember like where the show goes. Not vaguely. I have vivid memories of pieces of where the show goes. So that totally makes sense to me as well.
We'll get there. But with this show, as you're saying, like it's not anything. It could be everything. It's whatever you're bringing to the table. So I don't feel like I'm in the other way. I feel like I don't want to spoil who killed Laura Palmer. I can't really spoil by me saying any of these things your experience with it. That's what. It's a more freeing show, The Return, than some of the others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, no, I feel the look at this room, the mystery that's being built up around this. We have the tight security. Sam has to respond to the voice and change the tapes and the way that, not the tapes, the SD cards, and this huge filing cabinet filled with them. So how long has this been going on, this project? Because you can see all the empty slots. We see all the slots that are filled, and there's just cabinets and cabinets of them. So like, man, how long has this thing been going on? He does, I guess we'll get to this later. This has been going on because there was someone before Sam doing this as well. You get the security guard out there. the three of them standing out in the vestibule area or the entry where the elevator is, and the security guard kind of watching them, and the way that these actors perform, I really enjoy it. And I hate the term Lynchian, but it really is kind of this style that he has with his characters, actors sometimes. But just the way that Sam is constantly saying Tracy's name over and over again. You're a what is he something like you're a bad girl, aren't you, Tracy?
Yeah,
Like,
he catches her looking.
I love that. And I felt the same way. It's like, is Tracy who she seems, or is she trying to figure something out? Is she working for someone else? What's going on? She has these coffees and she's going to make plans to come see him again. Is there something more to it? Really like that a lot. Yeah, I just, nothing really else to it, but I love the way that all of this is set up. I'm glad that we come back to this in just a couple scenes.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the midpoint again. You know, one day we are going to live up to our promise and actually do these things live as we're recording them instead of having me drop it in. But it doesn't matter. What matters is the good people who have joined us in the Black Lodge. Of course, Chuck Suffel and Gregory Flanagan and Dawn Adamo and Banjo Track and Eric Knopp and Charlie Tapper and Jake Jagello, Matthew Fuller. We're not going to forget you, Matthew Fuller, and we're certainly not going to forget David Melito. All of these folks have been kind enough to support our show with a $5 a month donation and have joined us in the Black Lodge. There's other levels that you can get as well on our Patreon. We have many tiers, 2 of which will unlock several secret podcasts. Pink Room with Dan and I. We've got Club Silencio, which is a movie club where I'm making my way through all of David Lynch's films. A lot of fun, plus other stuff on there, all sorts of magic. So if you want to support the show, more than just sharing the links and telling your friends, which is also important, is to head over to our Patreon. You can go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile, find a link, sign up, even if it's the free level, and yeah. Sound good? All right, let's get back to it.
From here, we head to the other side of the country, to the Great Northern. Ben Horn and his brother Jerry discuss business.
Yeah, you got Richard Bamer back there. Thank God for Ben. And I'm going to get myself a Jerry. So I'm always happy for David Patrick Kelly.
I knew you were excited.
Love this scene. I love Beverly Page. You got Ashley Judd. Sometimes you get a famous person, takes you a little bit out of it because you're like, oh, okay, that's breaks the illusion. I like it. I like Ashley Judd here as Beverly Page. Page is an interesting name. Maybe we'll see someone else named Page. The story they're talking about with like Mrs. Houseman, it's in our house now. So of course you're like, oh, Houseman is in our house now. She's from New York. We just came from New York. I'm not saying there's a connection there, but of course I hear these things and I start making connections. You learn the Great Northern has a spa now, as does the location of the real Great Northern in real life. So that's also interesting to me for reasons which we'll eventually get to. I don't know. This scene is fantastic because, of course, Jerry's coming in high as hell. He's got food. Beverly meets Jerry for what seems like the first time, which tells us that Jerry is not around anywhere near as much as he used to be. There's a distance between Ben and Jerry that is obvious. This is a different Ben. Even Jerry asking Ben, is that the new girl? Which, of course, we remember immediately your connection to One-Eyed Jacks, and it's who's going to flip a coin over the new girl.
Yep.
And even when Jerry says, is that the new girl, he corrects himself to woman, and then Ben further corrects that to her proper name. So, and saying that she's married, which, of course, that's the old Ben would have no problem with that. But he's thought about it. He's thought about it, guys, but he's different. So Jerry's just being high and eating the banana bread with the infused and all of the temp stuff. I like it. And is that Mother's Hat is a fantastic way to end the scene. What is your
really is
short,
a great ending.
Short scene, but
it's a short scene, but we get a beautiful shot of the falls again. Like for me, seeing it from a different vantage point at a higher quality, everything just feels just like hyper real. It looks so beautiful, so cinematic. That's great. We get the whole story about Mrs. Houseman, and there's a skunk in her room. No, it was on the other side of the hotel. We're gonna, only comp a couple of nights, like the businessman Jerry. I feel the same about Ashley Judd. She didn't take me out of it, but she is such a star. Like, I mean, in the best sense, like she has very few lines, but she's I can't take my eyes off of her. Every delivery, everything she says, she's such a movie star in a way. Like, she's wonderful in this. I don't know. I'm glad it didn't take me out, but she's a standout for something that's so small in this scene. That's great. We get, of course, Jerry eating. We had to mention. It just makes me think of like the first time we see Jerry come in, and we're talking about the brie and butter sandwiches, and now this time, still always eating. We find out that his now legal business is tripling the income of their revenue.
He's got to do research. Yeah, so we know the Horn Industries is still very much in full swing, and they are also doing pot or legal cannabis.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. His got to do his R&D, which is fantastic. But the whole thing, like you were just saying, don't need to go any further with that. But yes, this is the continuation of Ben. Perhaps he has continued that trajectory of improving himself that we saw at the end of the original series. Maybe he is a better person as he was striving to be. He knows how to be good now. But this just feels like such a decidedly more granola version of Jerry. Still, it fits with him because he is very much a hedonist. This is just the different direction he's gone with that. But I just like that he just looks very crunchy granola, but the core of him, he's still the same kind of sleazy Jerry he's always been in a way. And he's got a great hat. All right. Moving on from here, we'll stay in Twin Peaks. Meanwhile, at the Twin Peaks Sheriff's Department, some things have stayed the same as Lucy confuses a visitor.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. I'll be curious to know where you land on this. Couple of notes.
Sure.
If you look at behind Lucy, there's a photo of her, Andy, and a child, and they have photoshopped Michael Cera's face on the baby. So it actually looks like they're all three of their faces are photoshopped. So it looks like it's Lucy's face photoshopped on the mom, Andy's face photoshopped on the dad, and then Michael Cera's face on. So maybe we'll see Michael Cera again.
Maybe
in some capacity, but that was a very funny thing.
Notice that. That's awesome.
Way in the background. Couple of changes. So the glass is completely gone. So she's completely open. And then we get an insurance salesman coming in to just lay the foundation that there are two Trumans. We know from the book that Harry had a brother, or the secret history that we just did, that he had a brother. And we learn Harry is said to be sick. Now, the man is selling insurance. So an insurance salesman is something to file away for later, I guess. That's it. What do you, Oh, the great picture of that tree I love is still hanging in Twin Peaks Station, which I love. That very tall tree is in the background.
Well, speaking of the trees, the first shot we get of the sheriff's department, we just get the sheriff's department sign kind of lower in the frame, but the light coming through the trees behind the sheriff's department, again, just these beautiful cinematography. The quality is just so beautiful. It was striking. You just get the rays of sunlight coming through there, and that's how I feel seeing the sign of the sheriff's department. Just instantly brought a smile to my face. Lucy's sitting there at the same desk 25 years later. She's playing solitaire on the table. She's rearranging her pencils. She's just, kind of still being Lucy. The whole conversation of, he's here to see Sheriff Truman. Which one? One is sick and the other's fishing. It can make a difference. But just that whole back and forth and vacant stare, and she just repeats herself. It's just the quintessential version of Lucy boiled down into this one moment. So we get that again. I would like to see Sheriff Truman, and she's just the blank stare, like she's not sure what else she could possibly say to this guy. Terrific. Hands him the card. It also makes me think, we have a door-to-door. I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but an insurance salesman showing up. We had Philip Gerard showing up to sell shoes. So just that connection is kind of cool as well. Love to see that coming up. But cool. All right.
Wait. But the question is,
tell me more.
Did you like this, Lucy? Because that was the thing that you didn't like the first time. So did watching it a second time change, and you appreciate the humor more, the absurdity of it all more, or you still feel the same?
It is absurdity more than it is humor. I get the humor, but it is just absurd. I think like I said, having watched this in close proximity to everything else that we just watched makes it feel much more connected, and feels right to me. So it doesn't bother me. Maybe as it did originally, whenever I hadn't seen it forever, and my memory was totally different or hazy of it, and it just felt. I'm guessing when I first saw this, it felt like over the top. but now it feels much more like, yeah, of course, this is how it would be. So yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
Okay, so then I was correct in saying if you watched it again, you may change. So point Eric.
Well, yes, you were totally right, Eric.
Thank you.
In the past,
Have it on the record.
Although he would have gotten extra points if he had said, if you watched everything back to back and then watched this again, you would have felt the same. Yeah, that part's important.
Yeah, you had to add that part just to take away my joy.
All right, from here, total tone shift here. We're out on a dark and winding road in the woods. A man who looks a lot like a special agent we used to know pays a visit to a family of moonshine enthusiasts.
Oh man, this is the best.
Here it comes.
This is the fucking best. Like the music playing, it's American Woman by Muddy Magnolias.
I know my worth and who I am.
That David Lynch plays at half speed. Holy shit. It's a perfect marriage of sound and motion. I love those driving shots that clearly David Lynch likes as you see them over and over. Just seeing the headlights cutting through the darkness as we're going someplace very strange. Cooper's doppelganger, we'll call him Mr. C from now on, drives a fancy Mercedes, so good on Mr. C for that. This is the first time we're seeing, the doppelganger Cooper since How's Annie. So it's jarring when he gets out of the car and he has long hair and he just comes up and knocks that dude out with the gun. It's like crazy. You're like trying to just process this is Kyle MacLachlan playing Cooper with this crazy long hair. And then when you go inside, it's like, holy shit. Holy shit. I love everything about the inside of this place. I love Otis, played by Redford Westward. He is just drinking moonshine. I'm assuming it's moonshine. There's mason jars filled with what looks like fingerling potatoes as well on the table behind him.
I thought it was pickles. I think it was like a big jar of pickles
Maybe
like you
it's
have in
pickles.
a bar. But it
could be pickles in a bar. That makes a lot more sense. I thought it was potatoes. I thought it was fingerling potatoes.
At first I thought it was hot dogs. I was like, that can't possibly be right. But to have that giant thing sitting next to his armchair as he's swilling moonshine, great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Otis also has a gun, but he does not draw it. So there seems to be some mutual respect between Mr. He. There's some history, I'll say, between Mr. C and Otis. Animal skins all around, horns. It's a very kind of violent, dirty atmosphere. Also in attendance, a disabled man in a wheelchair and a man in overalls. He also has a gun. So these are bad people, I guess we're supposed to take it. Very strange environment. Jars, candlesticks. Basically, it just looks like my dad's house. There's also what appears to be an old radio, right? There's always listen to the sounds. So your eyes are drawn to that old radio, why that's here. There's also 2 telephones, which I just think is an interesting detail, not that there's anything more to it. There's a rotary phone next to a cradle phone on the thing. So I guess you can get two calls if you need it. The guy with the gun comes back as well, so it's like, are you really going to take out Mr. C? Like, this is like if you could take all of Cooper and just make him like a psychopath monster, like how he would use those skills for evil. And you get to like, you have it's so much fun to watch Kyle MacLachlan have fun with this character. I love this. Mr. C is like such an interesting character. I could watch him all day. Talk about a queen, Beulah, coming out, who appears to run this place. Now, she's played by Kathleen Deming, who likes our posts on occasion. So, in the off chance that you're listening to this, I love your work in this scene. We're not going to see her again, unfortunately, but I love seeing this whole exchange. And Mr. C's looking for Ray and Darla, who are important characters for the next couple episodes. Put something better at your door. I love it. Now, her response.
It's a world of truck drivers.
For me, I take it as like people are always coming and going, so it's hard to get good people. It's a world of truck drivers. These guys are, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they're not around. What's the word for
transient
something? Transient. Thank you. These are. I don't know if that's what it means to you, but that's.
You know what? I will say what it because that struck me too. It just made me think maybe because we had just watched Fire Walk with Me recently, just all the truckers going up to Canada, Laura hitching a ride with them, just that influence of them. What you're saying totally makes sense too.
Yeah, I took it like the help. They're coming and going.
Truck drivers, Leo. I mean, you just gotta like that sort of that personality of the world of truck drivers. That's actually because I knew there was something in the back of my head, but I didn't put it together. That sort of violence that we got from Leo and this atmosphere that we're seeing here, those two, that's what actually really makes the connection for me. Okay.
But incompetence as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thinking like put something better at your door. I can't because it's a world of truck drivers. These
Yeah.
guys are coming and going. All right, so Daria, Ray. Daria's kind of has like a pink lady jacket and the world's super short shorts. But it feeds into that kind of like the 50s thing with the pink lady jacket that she's wearing, a little satin pink jacket. Just like the costume design on her is pretty cool. As they leave, like Darla hands the man in a wheelchair a note card, as does Ray. And then he shakes the hand of the man in the overalls. So I'm just wondering, it's like they're like hired guns. It has something to do with like a John Wick style checking out. Is it a note for some future thing that maybe we'll get to in the next episode? I don't know. But anyway, they both hand him a note card as they leave. And what the last thing I'll leave with is I love the return. Just the fact that Lynch just holds on Otis for a pretty long time. Like Lynch will take his time with the scene, and we're gonna get scenes that go on as long as they need to go on, and I like it. How do you feel about this whole crew?
This is just incredible. Yeah. So starting over from the beginning, we get, the drive up the winding road in the dark with all you see is the headlights across the trees. You kind of have no idea where you are. And it's such a radical shift from the previous scene. Like it's jarring and it's awesome. That soundtrack is incredible. Just kind of this like metal sort of sound to it is jarring and grating, and it's terrific. Seeing Cooper, or as we come to at the end of the scene, Otis refers to him as Mr. C. So that's the first time we hear him called that. But you see this doppelganger step out. He's got the long hair. He's got a leather jacket, snakeskin shirt, and his irises are pure black. Like he is a creature now. Like I love the idea. He's wearing other skins.
The eyes is a great detail to point out too. Yeah, how black they are.
The eyes are great because he's also wearing the snake skins. Like they feel reptilian, but like snakes shedding their skin. He's wearing other skins like the leather jacket. It's the doppelganger Bob riding around inside Cooper's body. I love that. It's like subtext, but also right there in your face. Terrific. Like you said, you get to understand who this guy is in just a couple moments. He takes down the guard at the door with one hit. Knocks him out. When he comes back in again, Cooper's sitting in an armchair, and the guy comes up behind him, and he's going to hit him with the butt of his shotgun. And Cooper just with again one hit hits the gun hits the guy in the head. The guy's out. Like he's just doesn't break a sweat. Like this is nothing to him. I love this. So you get this sense of like this mercenary or whatever he is right away. So just with a couple of moments, you understand exactly where this guy's coming from. You already mentioned like the look and the feel of this place, this cabin that they're in feels very claustrophobic to me, filled with stuff. There's, like you mentioned, there's the man in the wheelchair sitting next to the very tall, skinny guy with the gun, but they're kind of off in the corner, like in the shadows a bit. So like, who are they? Kind of watching this whole thing. That's great. Otis has this very distinct look to him. That mustache and those eyebrows, fantastic. So just like a striking look to him. Beulah comes out. She's got her fingernails look sharpened and like silver. So again, like this like animalistic feeling like you were saying before with the animal skins all over the place, like it's a hunting lodge almost.
And she's in like dirty lingerie too.
She's got that
like,
lingerie that so she's wearing. Totally awesome. I didn't actually notice that Daria and Ray handed the two others note cards. I saw them like say goodbye and like but I saw her like touch him on the shoulder and say goodbye, like maybe like a kiss goodbye, but maybe she is whispering something. So I want to watch that again. I've watched it twice now and I missed it.
The first guy in the wheelchair hands a card, then she goes over to the skinny guy in the overalls and either kisses him or does something like saying goodbye. Then Ray gives the card to the first guy and then kind of waves or whatever he does, acknowledges the other guy, and they both leave.
I missed the card. I want to go back and see that. That's great.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Yeah, but very cool. So now those two are off and running with Mr. C. So amazing. Incredible scene to start off introducing that character again after 25 years. Eric, we're going to head back to New York City. Tracy returns the next night with more coffee and a chance to see what's in the glass box room.
Yeah, back to that glass box watching us. I like this sequence a lot. Like, first off, she comes back. There's like a lot of mystery going on, right? Because you see her watching him with the keypad, so you're not sure what to make of her. And then all of a sudden, he's replacing another card. You hear the elevator sound go off, so someone's there, but then nothing happens. And then when he goes out, you're like, the guard's not there. And just him looking for the guard in the bathroom, which is a dirty bathroom, is scary. Like, it's like this scary moment of him checking to see if the guard's in the bathroom. And you're like, well, why is the guard not here? Did she have something to do with the guard? I mean, you're going to find out. No, I mean, as we get into it, but I like that sequence a lot. Again, Tracy pushing for the visit. She got 2 lattes. They got the Z's. We're going to go in. I paid attention to the code on the door. A fireman or giant or whoever tells me that I got to listen to the sounds and that I got to pay attention to 430. I'm constantly looking at these things. The only numbers I can make out are 582470 for the code. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I'm getting it right. He's kind of blocking it. I am a bad girl too, so that's why I was looking.
Yeah.
This is where we get a lot more detail about the job. Like, he calls it the glass box, so that's what we've been calling it. He just took this job to help with school or whatever, but it's apparently this whole operation is run by some anonymous billionaire, this mysterious figure. I talked about the bonsai tree, makes you think of someone listening to them. You mentioned before that there was someone else that had done this job and was spooked by something. He saw something, couldn't talk about it. Everything is very secret. Her calling it cozy when it feels so cold is also like such a clever piece of dialogue that I like. And now it's like 2 people watching the box together, sitting down like every other couple. You're going to watch a movie together, and before you know it, you're making out and they're having sex. She has heart earrings that remind, like, little gold heart earrings that reminded me of Laura in the split heart, but hers are together. And while they're making out and they're going at it, you keep cutting away back to the box several times, and as if they'll miss something, or as if the box is watching them do what they're doing. At least the way that I walk away with it. And I mentioned she works at the coffee shop. Here's where we know, because when she opens her coat, you can see the Z on her uniform. Is she a distraction for him from the box? Is she not a distraction? We're going to find out. While they're making out, we get the craziness. Like, you get that whooshing sound. You hear the hints of sound that sounds like the record player, and we're told to listen to the sound, so all of this stuff is important. And in the box, we see that twitching, strange creature, and it feels like it's a horizontal hold failing as it's going kind of back and forth on an old TV. That faceless woman is credited as the experiment model in this episode, and later as just the experiment, played by actress Erica Enyan, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, breaks out of the TV, kills them, and when they're killed, they don't move. It kills them without them moving at all. They remain still and are just bloodied until it's such a. They're not screaming. I mean, I shouldn't say they're not screaming. They are screaming, but they're not holding their hands up and trying. They're just sitting there as it just cuts away at their face. It's so unsettling. But that's all I have for this as my voice shuts down here.
No, that's it's such an amazing scene. It's amazing. Like you said, Sam hears the elevator, and we saw that the previous time. You hear the elevator sounds, and then he gets the announcement that there's a visitor, but this time nothing happens. So he goes out to find out what's going on there. Tracy said she'd come back the next night, so he's wearing different clothes. She's there. It's the next day, presumably. Tracy says he's not here. No one is here, which was interesting. So I wonder, were there guards in the first one? This seems like a very well-secured place. Like, did she have to go through security normally, but there's no one there at all? Is the entire building empty except for Sam? Like, I don't know. It's Sam and obviously Tracy too. Great. I know it's not this, but I can't help but see the bathroom where they open it up and there's the mirror there. It just makes me think of Doppelganger banging his head against the mirror. I know it's not really that, but it just always makes me think I'm never going to see that and not think about how Zanny. Pretty great. So Sam's definitely a little concerned. This is unusual, but Tracy's there and she's beautiful. So let's come in for a little while.
Yeah, he's concerned too about he'll let her in. How do you get out?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we hear that like an anonymous billionaire is running this thing. Previous guy saw something, but he couldn't or wouldn't say what it was they saw. Great. Very cool. We see all the servers and wires and tubes and everywhere. Tracy remarks that's a lot of equipment. So it does feel like an excessive amount. But again, how long has this experiment been going on, or whatever is going on, been happening? I just like when they're sitting there watching the box and they're drinking their coffees and just kind of like looking at sideways. You want to make out a little? I just love the line. You want to make out a little, but she goes immediately like strips down entirely. But yeah, that as soon as and it was such a subtle thing that you don't really see the Z on her, presumably like uniform. It's barely see it because I when she first says that, don't worry about it, I got the coffees for free. It's like, why did she get the coffees for free? And then, she sees the Z on the cup, and that's just a quick thing. So again, it's dispelling the notion of like, oh, she's like some sort of like double agent, whatever, trying to find out.
Still could be,
but it makes that feel like, oh, okay, I wasn't quite right, which could be a misdirect. So it could be a double bluff. We don't know yet, which is great.
Right. But it certainly could be, not that she's some secret agent trying to get at the secrets of the box, but somebody could have paid her to be sent there because they were also getting rid of the guards because they knew something may come out of the box or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it could be part of a much bigger plan.
We will find out. I love seeing that box fill with the blackness. It's like, it's just the way that it just almost physical, the blackness that kind of fills up that space. That creature, the experiment, we'll call it, I love the way, like, I like that you said like the vertical horizontal hold is off like on an old TV. That's very cool as well. And it feels it's black and white. It really does feel like a black and white sort of scene. That's cool. But it also makes me think of like this trope of different types of monsters like the Cthulhu or It, where it's described in a way like the human mind can't perceive it. So you can't quite see what it is because it keeps shifting. So it's not, it's maybe not
extra dimensional.
You're right. It's maybe not that the creature is vibrating. It's that your mind can't quite get a grasp on what it is and can't make sense of it. I love that idea. But we do get a vaguely female form. It seems to not have eyes or nose, just has a giant mouth in the middle of its head. It's very creepy, very nightmarish. Love it. Saw a reference that they're very similar in terms of the aesthetic of it, or the shape of this creature looks a lot like some of David Lynch's drawings of disfigured nudes or something like that, which is great. I love that kind of bringing some of his unconsciousness into this world.
Oh yeah, he's very hands-on, so he works on everything. So
every aspect.
Like, if you get the Blu-rays, there is wonderful the man with the elevated hair, like there's a whole behind the scenes sort of document, and he is literally hands-on he's adding things to a scene. He would have been on there making her face look that way.
So good.
He's right up there, and his hands are in literally everything he works on,
which is just terrific. I mean, he's an artist, so wants to have the control here that he didn't have entirely in the original series. Is terrific. As we know, Tracy's like straddling over Sam. So Sam's actually looking over her shoulder and sees this all start to happen. And he has this kind of look of astonishment on his face. Then Tracy kind of inches her head around and looks, and she has a look of horror. So the two of them, the looks on their faces, they kind of like trying to grasp what the thing is they're seeing. And then the figure, the experiment flings itself at the glass. And they both like freak out, and then it breaks the glass and breaks through. And it's like it Tasmanian devils them to death. Like, I don't know what, it's like Ginsu knives or something, like slashing at them. And like you said, they just sit there, like the bodies are kind of reacting to it, but they're not trying to get away. It's just blood all over the place, and you can't, again, quite see what the shape of the creature is as it's moving. So it's like, I love
the
this.
way I take it, and I don't know how you take it, but like for me, it's like time slowed down. So you're seeing like, I don't know, 1/1000th of a second play out, which is why they're not moving. It's just all happening.
Could
so
be.
fast.
I mean,
I don't know.
In shock, stunned silence. It's just an incredible scene. So amazing to kind of get this as well. And of course, the sound design too, with the whooshing sound coming as the box fills up, is great. We can move on from here and head to a new location. We're heading out to Buckhorn, South Dakota. The police are called about a foul odor coming from an apartment.
Yeah, so we get to see a woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene? I mean,
maybe.
Mark Frost is a very political person.
This is way before,
2016, that's Trump is running. She's around, right? I don't know when she broke through, but
interesting, though.
It doesn't matter. I don't know if
Interesting
it's a connection, but he is very political. She's played by Melissa Jo Bailey. I find her endlessly entertaining. She's walking up with a small Mexican Chihuahua, which, if you're not thinking of the original Twin Peaks, now you are, because that's what I thought of when I see that small Mexican Chihuahua. There's a large sign, of course, it says fire hose and fire extinguisher, and we're thinking about fire and Fire Walk With Me. This is like a cool little mystery. We're getting a murder mystery. Now we're getting something closer to what we're used to in the original show. So we're going to smell some weird odor coming from the room. And what follows is I find very funny. I don't know if you agree. I like all the stuff with the cops. I like the stuff with her. I like her calling and saying, "You don't know me."
Yes.
And all of that stuff. I like the fact that there's a bird in the cage that's not moving. So either the bird is dead or it's like a plastic bird. That little detail is very funny. Or if it's a real bird, it's literally not moving at all. I watched it a few times. I could not find it move.
Amazing.
The two cops that arrived, Officer Douglas, played by James Giordano, and Officer Olson, Christopher Murray. I like both of them. I think they have great comedic timing.
Yep.
I'm all in on the mystery. Her room is 216. I'm just going to keep throwing numbers out here like a lunatic until we find something that's going to match.
Wait, that was
the numbers.
Marjorie's room was 216 or the Ruth's?
Ruth Davenport's room.
Okay.
It's because they call in that the location is 1349 Arrowhead. It's room number 216.
Gotcha.
A possible 1054, which is a dead body. And I like that she corrects them to no, it's 1349. Also funny. All the stuff with Barney's brother having the keys and Hank knows him when you get Hank Fillmore, the maintenance man, who's played by Max Perlich, who was in Drugstore Cowboy, but also in Buffy. We're going to get two people from Buffy, at least two that I'm aware of that are from Buffy in this episode. Immediately, Hank starts yelling about Harvey, and there's that mystery. It's like Hank has this doctor's bag, which we get called back to. You don't know what it is, but you don't need to. It's just like there's always little mysteries all around this universe, and I absolutely love it. Chip ain't got no phone.
Oh, man. And he says it as though, like, obviously, Chip, not Chip. Like, it's
and
great.
Just a cop saying, "I'll wait for the locksmith," which is then funny. And then all of a sudden she's like, "I have a key."
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to, because she's away or she's going to be away. But anyway, what's your
That's great.
take before we get into the room?
No, it's so good. Yeah. Just visually seeing Marjorie Greene, the character, a larger woman walking a smaller dog down that hallway. It's just a great framing of that shot and the way that she's coming down there. The dog smelling the smell coming out of there, and Marjorie calling. So the way she's so flustered and can't even remember her address. Oh, I know this. Oh, yeah. She can't remember. It's terrific. She's great. She's just one of those Lynch characters that's hyper realized, but also just absurd. She's terrific.
He definitely likes bigger people with small dogs too, because there's a scene in Blue Velvet when Kyle MacLachlan's walking by. He was a very large, heavyset man with a tiny dog, so it's
that's terrific.
Something he's returned to a few times.
Yeah. When she's on the phone with the police and she's like, she can't remember her address. We cut to the hallway to their next door neighbor, who we find out is Ruth, to the door handle. And we get the same music, so whooshing wind sound in the background right there. So just noting that that signifier of this sound is really cool. Also, it's a brass door handle, not a wooden knob. Just, sorry, Josie.
Okay.
Didn't happen. So that's cool. I love that joke about it's possible 1054. It's 1349. Terrific. Wonderful. Love that. It's not important. 1054 is typically a possible dead body, but depending on the area, it could also be hit and run accident or livestock on the highway, according to Google. It's another possibility, but definitely possible dead body is great. The whole thing with Harvey, you son of a bitch, keep coming up. Great. Do we find out more about Harvey? I don't know, but I love that we get these there's every little character you meet has there's a whole nother story we can go follow if we wanted to. I love that. They're not just these flat, I'm just here to serve a purpose. It's no, there's a whole other thing. no, this was ours. You didn't get cut in on this one, Chip. It's great. Or no, Harvey. That was just him and Chip did whatever they did. That's terrific. Yeah, let's from here we can head into the apartment.
Sure.
So tell me what you think when we come into the apartment.
Okay, so first we get into Ruth's apartment. There's a couple of things to look out for. There is a book on Indian heritage. It's called Indian Heritage.
There's several here. Yeah.
As well as a book called Dreamland, but certainly Indian Heritage is something we're going to have to pay attention to later.
Other ones we include American Image, which I thought was very cool. Another one, Engines of Change, was great. And one was The Farmhouse, but I don't really know if that means anything. But I didn't catch. So sorry, what were the other two that you said?
Well, the important one is Indian Heritage.
Yes, Indian Heritage was a great one.
Direct connection, right? Yeah. And Dreamland.
Dreamland's great.
Which
I like American Image too, because we're talking about we are seeing much more of the country in Twin Peaks than we've ever seen before. Getting to go across different locations. That's really cool. And Engines of Change, I just feel like has a meaning overall for the show. So
sure.
Great. All right, go ahead.
All right, so in the bedroom is a body. We get the head of a woman with the eye missing. Very, very striking image. Now, that head belongs to Mary Stoffel, who was David Lynch's wife at the time.
Oh.
That he made this. So she gets a little cameo here. We cut over to Hank talking about whatever it is in that doctor bag. And again, it's that mystery. So the wonderful flash bulbs. We get a upgraded camera. But you think about like the original Twin Peaks and the flashbulb shots and how wonderful they are that when we're in Jacques' cabin. And here we have it with like a bit more modern cameras. Really cool deep focus shot as well when we get the policeman with the camera, and then we have Officer Olson at the door. I think he's got his arms folded. And then in the far back frame by the doorway is Officer Douglas. Mm-hmm. And then now we're going to get to meet the coroner, Constance, who's played by Jane Addams. She's great. And
She's
the detective
wonderful.
that arrives is Dave McClay. He's played by Brent Briscoe. He played a cop as well in Mulholland Drive, so he's worked with Lynch before. He unfortunately passed away in 2017, the same year that this show premiered. But man, it's great. Just the sound of the flashes warming up too just warms my heart. In the same scene is when now we're going to pull the curtains back and we're going to see the body, that there's a body that's not the body of the head. So we've got the body of a man and a woman's head. And so now we're missing a woman's body and we're missing a man's head. So
sure enough.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is great. Coming into the apartment, we talked about the books too. There's just other things in the apartment that just felt interesting to me. On the same bookcase, there's a decoy duck.
Decoy, sure.
I don't know, just the decoy there. But the way that there's one shot where we're presumably the camera's kind of in the hallway looking at the two police officers in profile in front of the bookcase, and the decoy duck is at eye level with them. So they're kind of looking at each other, which I thought was just a cool shot. There's on one of the tables there's a clawfoot magnifying glass standing there, but it's looking at a candlestick that has no candle. And then on the other side of the table are candlesticks with candles in them. I don't know if there's any meaning about this, but I just really like that there's these, like, we're looking at things, we're inspecting things. There's decoys, there's the books with the titles that seem to have, to me, some significance. I really like whatever sort of set dressing we're doing here. Maybe we're laying clues, or maybe it's just fun for us to find things that aren't there. Love it anyway. Like you said, we get the head on the pillow. The left eye is removed. Is there meaning to the left eye being the one that's removed? And that side of her face is completely bruised. So it's really gruesome. It looks like hollowed out. It's real visual, like visceral. It's great. But then you get the one police officer going, "Uh-oh," which I think is a great line.
Yeah.
It's so funny amidst all this like gruesome horror. Uh-oh, great. Then we do get the medical examiner. We get Constance. God, Jane Addams is just wonderful. One of those character actresses that you just see her in things, and every time she shows up, I'm always happy. Great to see her in this.
Yeah, I remember her from the show Hung. I think that was the first time I remember seeing her.
She was in Hung. She was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. A bunch of other. She's terrific. So she's great. Dave, the detective, coming in here, and there's obviously have a lot of like history of the two of them, because he puts on the blue gloves, the nitrile gloves, and she's behaving yourself for a change, which is really cool. So what is their history is really nice. And then pulling back that the bed covers, and it's just a very large man, naked, very hairy, very like
Yeah.
you notice when you're walking down the hallway to see this, like the shape under the covers looks massive. Now you see why. Like that body obviously doesn't belong to that head. So then you get that shot of the two pieces together. It's really gruesome. In a way that I don't think you get in some scenes in Fire Walk with Me and the original series, but those are all like kind of quick shots in the dark, and it's like even more disturbing because of the things you don't see. Here it's just like very clinical, and you see all the remains there. It's great. Let's head out to the woods outside of Twin Peaks. Margaret Lynchman relays her log's message to Deputy Chief Hawk.
Yeah, I love the way this opens, like when we're going over, the woods near Pearl Lakes, and you just hear the wind and the creaking of the trees is so haunting and foreboding. And then you hear like the falls. There's very little music in this episode, and just to hear those like natural sounds, and it's just really, really just magical or mysterious anyway. And then now we're at the Log Lady's cabin. You're not far from Glastonbury Grove. We're not far from Jacques' cabin, where so much has happened. And now Catherine Coulson calls. Catherine Coulson. Now Margaret Lanterman calls Hawk. Well, with a message from the log, and she tells him that
my log has a message for you.
Okay.
Something is missing, and you have to find it. It has to do with Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Something is missing, and Hawk has to find it, which is, if you remember, what did Cooper say?
If I'm ever lost, I hope you're the man they send to find me. May the wind be always at your back.
And that's what's happening here. And so it begins. This whole thing is related to Cooper. She also says,
the way you will find it has something to do with your heritage.
Which I was talking about before. The way you will find it has something to do with your heritage.
Yep.
And we just saw a book on Indian heritage. It's incredibly sad. I just love this world. Now, Catherine Coulson is dying, and it was a huge effort to even make this happen. Like, her wish when she was dying was to be in Twin Peaks. Like, it was about the work, but she didn't tell David Lynch. So they're shooting the show, and, they're in the middle of making the show. So they have scenes with Catherine Coulson where she's in scenes like any other actor. And meanwhile, she's like falling apart, and her family's having this like inner conflict of like, she's too sick to go, and all she wants to do is go. So at one point, Sabrina Sutherland was talking to Catherine Coulson's people, and they were going to get like a medical plane and like fly her over there. And when David Lynch heard about that, he's like, what the hell is going on? So all of it has to do with like two people, Jenny Sullivan and Timothy Neer, who was an actress who was on Sesame Street.
And today, we have a special guest, Timmy. Yeah, and she signs everything we say. See? She's doing it now.
They're the people that really made this whole thing happen. And the author of Room to Dream, Christine McKenna. So Christine McKenna decides that she's going to visit Catherine Coulson, who's sick, just on a whim almost. And she knows David Lynch. And meanwhile, those two women that I mentioned, Jenny Sullivan and Timothy Neer, are like trying to write David Lynch an email to kind of explain that she's sick and that she still wants to do it, but they're kind of concerned because like the clock is ticking and whatever. And she was like, you cannot write this email. Like, he's not going to read this email. It has to be like 3 sentences tops, because his attention span is not going to go. So she sort of contacts him, and that's when they realize how bad it is. Like, they didn't know that it was as bad as it was. So they kind of change things. They change some of the script, and they bring a film crew to her, and they shoot this on Skype. So David Lynch is literally like on a laptop. There's another film crew that's here. That sequence and how they put it together, I'm not going to tell you. It's in I Know Catherine the Log Lady. It's very moving. It's very emotional. I get upset even just thinking about that scene and how they shot all this stuff. It's really beautiful. I would recommend you guys watch that. But when you realize, and it's written into the dialogue, I mean, even more so with, as we're going to see more and more of this Catherine stuff, it's very heartbreaking, but it's also so magical that this even happened. The fact that this came together is a miracle. So I love this scene. I don't know what else I can add to it other than, she literally dies a few days after shooting this. Like 2 days, I think, at the most. She dies on September 28th. It's just, it's nuts. But I love the fact that it's Michael Horse and her and all of their conversations that we see. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is a really moving scene. It does start on a comic tone because we get Lucy transferring the call, and this is when we find out that Hawk has now been promoted to deputy chief.
Deputy chief.
Lucy's saying to him, yes, that there's a call from you from Margaret Lancherman on line 1. It's the one that's blinking, which is, the same thing Lucy has said in the previous series. Like, it's great. It is exactly Lucy. It's exactly what it should be. But the whole exchange between Hawk and Margaret is just wonderful. How much of it is, I mean, it's a combination, I'm sure, of all of this, of the actress, of the character, but as she's saying the words, it looks as though she's going to cry throughout it. It's really emotional, really moving, in addition to giving us like another tantalizing clue to the overall mystery and what's going on, getting to, again, with the log, giving us this important information as we've had pay off for us previously. It's just wonderful. But you see here with the oxygen tube under her nose and everything, it's really moving. And then when she hangs up and Hawk says goodbye, we really just sit on Hawk in the sheriff's department at his desk, just thinking. You can just see him, and is he thinking about what the message was? The actor thinking about this moment. It's all of it mixed together. It's wonderful. It's just such a wonderful scene. It's very short, but it's terrific.
And that's the title of this as well. Is my log as a message for you. Yeah, you really should watch the film just to see, because she's using all of her reserves, every last bit of energy that she has left to pull this off. All right, take us back to Buckhorn.
Let's go back to Buckhorn. The medical examiner Constance is running prints, and she gets a match.
Yeah, so investigating the body, we're going to upload some prints. We know now, which we knew, Ruth Davenport, the head. We do not know the body. It's a John Doe. Nothing is coming back on his prints. Question for you: do you remember who the body is?
Nope, no idea. Can't wait to find out.
All right, okay. All right, the other set of prints belongs to William Hastings. He's the principal, played by Matthew Lillard. And we also learn a little bit, Constance has a child, so
yep.
Just some backstory for her. I got nothing else on this.
So you asked me, do I remember who the body is? No idea. Did I remember that Matthew Lillard played Hastings? Yes. Why? Why do I remember that? I remember the stupid things, but I don't remember the overall story. But we're going to go over to the Hastings residence in just a moment. But when you mentioned before, we see stars or movie actors that are not unknowns. Matthew Lillard is one that takes me out of it. He's just very specific. It's very specific sort of actor from Scream and whatnot. Did he play Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's
I like it. I think he's good.
I liked his performance, but it is one of those I think his performance is fantastic, especially the later scenes that we see in this episode. But that initial moment when he comes to the door, it's just but then I at least relaxed into it a little bit. But yeah, it was shocking. But yeah, so nothing else really to add on to that. So let's go over to the Hastings residence where the police arrive and a suspect is brought in.
Fantastic wolf knocker.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, which it plays into the end too when they say wolf. But yeah, I like seeing the sure. Wolf knocker on the door. His wife Phyllis is played by Cornelia Guest. She answers with Dave, so already we know Dave has a personal connection to this couple. They are friends. They know each other. Now, Cornelia Guest, this actress, was in the movie I Know Who Killed Me with Lindsay Lohan, and I know I brought it up on Meanwhile, because I remember finding the Lindsay Lohan trailer and dropping it in during an edit, but I can't for the life of me remember why I mentioned that film. But she's in it as well. The movie poster for that is a blue rose for whatever it's worth. All right, so this begins but the Morgans are coming for dinner.
Great.
Joke that carries through. She is a really interesting character. So we'll see her again next episode, which I'm happy. I like her. And we hear about George the lawyer. So as William Hastings is sort of taken away to the police station, he wants her to call George the lawyer.
I don't have anything else to note here other than I felt the same way. The wolf head door knocker was pretty cool.
Yeah, you think about Dead Dog Farm, you think about the wolf, you think about Woof.
Sure.
So, something.
Yeah, I just wonder if the Morgans are going to be able to make it for dinner. That's all. Meanwhile, at the sheriff's department in Twin Peaks, Hawk pulls out some old files to see what's missing.
So great shot of the conference room. I love seeing the old conference room again. We see Andy now and Lucy. Something is missing and has to do with Agent Cooper. We get a whole bunch of history on what happened to Cooper, right? So we know Cooper's missing, and he has been missing since Wally was born. He was born on the same day as Marlon Brando, which means he was born on April 3rd, which means it's not the same kid that she was pregnant with. Is the timelines are to be, but timelines are unreliable.
True.
But it wouldn't make any sense because February 24th is when Laura dies. So April 3rd is way too close because she was not 7 months pregnant, which means that if it's April 3rd of the next year, no one's pregnant for that long. So it's a different kid. Who knows what happened to that first baby? We don't know. They're getting the files out, the coffee and the donuts, and it's nice to think about the donuts and the policeman's dream soon to be on that table.
It's a short scene. I feel the same way, seeing the old conference room, talking about bringing the donuts and coffee. Fantastic. Like, yeah, we're back into old Twin Peaks again. Hawk's running the case here. It is nice to see Andy and Lucy there together. Cooper's been missing. Not even a Christmas card from him. Which is great. I'm trying to imagine Mr. C writing Christmas cards, though. But anyway, that's great. So yeah, just terrific to get into that part of the mystery is really cool. But we're gonna head back from here to another police department. This time in Buckhorn, Don Harrison from the state police comes to watch the interrogation of Principal Bill Hastings.
The state cop shows up. You mentioned Don Harrison, state police. Now that's played by Bailey Chase, who I didn't know until I looked up, but you probably will because you were more familiar with Buffy the Vampire Slayer from having watched. Do you remember him? He was an agent of the Initiative, and he was friends with Riley Finn.
Gosh darn it. He looked so familiar, and I couldn't place it. Yes, I know exactly. Season 4.
Okay.
But yes. Oh, my God. Everything with Adam and all that stuff. Jeez. Thank you.
Several things going on. Again, we talked about the body missing. We're missing heads. It's just it's a very crazy scenario going on with this body here. And that's it. I mean, we know that they went to high school together. That's it. Dave and William Hastings went to high school.
Yep. Wait, the
interrogation. Is this also the interrogation we're doing?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, this is interrogation as well. So that's all you want to talk about? Yeah, go on.
All right. So a bunch of things that he gets wrong. This is basically watching his story fall apart. So he's asking about Ruth. He denies knowing her. It's not doing him any favors. He needs his lawyer now. He needs Dave. They're waiting on that warrant. So the judge is unavailable. Something is wrong with her. He says that he gave Betty a ride home, right? So he talks about
his assistant,
which is something to remember. So he's got this assistant, Betty, and he said there's something wrong with her first.
Oh, yeah, now I remember. I gave my assistant Betty a ride home. Something wrong with her car. Something wrong.
He says something wrong with her car. She's a character you'll hear about again.
That's really cool because he says there's something wrong with her car, and then he says something wrong.
Yeah.
Because you definitely see, this is, sorry to jump in, but this is where I think he's excellent. He's excellent. You can see, I mean, he's obviously a great actor. You can see the gears turning in his head. You can see the thoughts on his face. It is such a wonderful performance. So he's trying to hedge, something wrong with her car. Well, something wrong. He's trying to hedge what he's saying so he doesn't wind up tripping himself up.
Yeah. So the only other, I mean, so this is eventually thrown in his face that she's been killed, and his prints are all over this place. But I love the shot of him being led down the hall towards the cell. There's just this long shot as they move farther and farther away from frame. And then go over to that area with all the cells, and he gets locked away. He wants to speak to his wife. He's asking for his lawyer. His lawyer's nowhere to be found. So we'll see what comes of that. But that's it.
Ah, it's great. Yeah. The police are getting a warrant, but the judge is up the mountain right now, which is that's one of those small details. It's like, again, all these characters just have a whole other lives that are going on. We just get little details. It's terrific. He goes through his days of the last 4 days of what was going on. He gets tripped up about how long does it take to get home. And he does that thing of like, oh, yeah, now I remember, which is just, rant. You should have had George there from the very beginning before you said a dang word. One of the things, too, like, let's overread what's on the screen. But we had the glass box and people watching that. We get this framed similarly. We have Dave, the local police officer, and then the state police officer all watching Bill through the one-way glass. Bill has a camera on him as well. So it feels like a very similar sort of setup, which I think is kind of interesting. Just waiting to see what's going to happen with Bill, if he's going to crack or not. But again, you get that whole history that they know each other since high school. They're fishing buddies, etc. All of this, and even though Don says, Dave asked several times, the state police don't want to take this. No, you got this. Don is still kind of running things because when he says, show him to his new room, he can talk to his lawyer from there. Is pretty cool. So I don't know what's gonna happen to you, Bill. Poor guy. But we need to head back to the Hastings as a swarm of police officers arrive with a warrant, which really puts a dent into Phyllis's dinner plans.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to this. Like, Phyllis keeps talking about the guests for dinner plans, which I think is funny.
It's great.
We're gonna find an igloo cooler in the trunk, as well as a piece of flesh. And I do like when Dave's flashlight is broken. He says, "My flashlight's broke," so you get the strobing lights, which is so important in the world of Twin Peaks. And then he says, "Woof." When he sees it, and again, I think about the door knocker, and Dead Dog Farm, and all of that.
I like the term "woof" because I say that all the time as well. But it just makes me also think of like the "uh-oh" from the other police officer. It's just these little like comic interjections that are like very understated for the situation you're looking at. That lump of flesh is great, revealed underneath the cooler, really gross. Phyllis, whenever she's like, Don says they need to look into the cars, that his car in the driveway, and she's like, Dave, I'm sorry, Phyllis, you gotta do it. Like, just it's really funny. I like her performance a lot.
Yeah,
I felt the
she's
same
great.
way again about the flashlights broke. Just makes me think electricity, the strobing lights whenever you're in the morgue, the first time we see Laura Palmer's body, all of that just is terrific. So that's cool. We return to the black and white parlor and we hear the noise on the phonograph again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the soft clicking of the record skipping. You'd mentioned it being an insect sound. It's neat. It's a neat way to do it. As we get the credits coming up, it's nice to see it states in memory of Catherine Coulson, who, dies while they're making this show. So it happens in progress. So it's very sad, but I'm glad we got it. And I'm sure she would be happy she got it. It was very important to her.
It's a nice way to end this initial episode as well. Kind of bookending the episode. It almost feels to me like this question mark person is listening to everything that's been happening. It's kind of like, is he paying attention to all the things that we just saw as well? It's just a cool way to end it. Can't wait to see the next part, Eric.
And that is a good way to end this. So if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. Like, share, whatever. And we're going to see you for part 2, which is a really good part. Very good. A lot of good stuff coming.
Can't wait to see it. Until next time.
All right. See y'all.
Bye.
All right. I got a boogie.
Dude, 2 hours. I knew it was going to happen.
Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots. The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again, and in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.